All right, guys, welcome back to Stutter Chats. This is our fourth episode. I am your co-host Matthew.
It's Brandon Davis. What's going on, y'all?
We back. This is our fourth one. How we feeling, Brandon?
I'm doing good. It's a lovely Wednesday down here in South Florida. Other places may be a little bit cold, but here it's a good, I say 84 degrees, so I'm enjoying it, bro. Appreciate you.
It is, bro. But we do have a cold front coming in, so I believe on Saturday. But our cold front is like 70 degrees, but yeah. So let's kick it off with some like how we did it on the first podcast. We just ask each other some questions. And we'll go off there. A lot of personal questions we're gonna ask. We're gonna get deeper to knowing each other and letting our followers know more about us. So the first one, man. So let me put this down. Yeah. So the first one, if you could go back in time and give your younger self a piece of advice about stuttering, what would it be?
One piece of advice that I'll give somebody about stuttering, to build your confidence, more than anything, that's where kids waver. Make sure you're confident in necessarily who you are, more than anything in the things that you do. Don't waver. It is gonna come out awkward. It is gonna come out necessarily a little chattery or a little nasally, but make sure necessarily you're confident in the things necessarily that you do. So that's one of the biggest things. Just maintain your confidence. So it's not gonna be perfect every day, but more than anything, make sure you advocate for yourself and be confident. Kick that same portion of you. What's one thing that you would tell your younger self?
What I would tell my younger self and just anybody, just in general, like yesterday we met some young kid, a young guy. Yesterday we met. Yesterday we had our monthly meeting at the NSA. We met a young kid, super young kid, very confident in himself. But just a piece of advice I would tell myself if I was in his shoes or just anybody age 18, 19. I want you to know that your voice matters, even though you stutter or not, and don't let the fear of other people opinions silent you. And the people who care about you will listen, and those that who won't are not worth your energy. And just understanding that and just having that thought process, I think just owning your stutter is what makes you unique. And being you. I saw the other day there was I saw this TikTok the other day of Andre Godala. He says the new cool now is not being cool and just being true to yourself. And I feel that's something that kids our age, even our age now, even kids are falling into a trap of being cool and still living in the high school mentality. You know, the high school mentality, you know, how people, oh, you gotta bully these people, you gotta bully them. So I feel just being true to yourself, I think will help out. And it would have helped out me if I told myself that advice. If somebody told me that advice as I was younger, being unique and being true to yourself is what will help you out.
Definitely necessarily piggyback off that. Like the new cool is definitely, like I say, being, I ain't gonna say uncool, but just being yourself. At the end of the day, God made you exactly how He wanted you. So what's this cool mean? I mean, cool
Yes, sir.
come in so many different forms. It derives from people trying something different, something new. So therefore, you don't know what's cool until somebody does it. You know what I mean? And it catches on. So like I said, those
Yeah.
people that do stutter necessarily, people are gonna learn a whole lot of things from you, and they're gonna think it's cool. But the whole thing of it is, it's trying, not trying to be like anybody else, but understanding that you're different for a purpose. So, I mean, and that's cool in itself. I mean, you're blazing your own trail, your own trail. So, but we don't necessarily go to this next question. Stuttering, necessarily, when we talk about stuttering, how did it impact your self-esteem as growing up, and has your perspective changed as an adult?
Yeah. So at a at a younger age, I really felt like as I feel like every stutterer feels this way. Like we don't want to talk, we don't want to get stuck, we don't want to feel indifferent from everybody, feel different from everybody. We just wanted to be part of. We just wanted to feel normal. And I feel like we could talk like everybody else. But at a younger self, I just felt isolated. I saw stuttering as a flaw of mine. I saw it as an obstacle that I was going to deal with my whole life. But and I avoided a lot of speaking situations, and sometimes in those speaking situations made me feel like I was not being heard. I felt like no one took anything that I was saying to, what's that word? Like no one took it very seriously when I talked when I was younger. But as an adult now, I realized that stuttering does not define me, and I embraced it. I embraced it for who I am. I have gained a whole bunch of confidence in myself, and I feel like just owning it and just being true to myself. It's pretty much just going back to the first question, just being true to yourself. And I viewed it more as a strength than as a weakness. And just going back to just how I'm gonna throw this question back to you, Brandon. And how did stuttering affect? How did it affect? How did it affect your self-esteem growing up? And how has your perspective changed as an adult?
Most definitely, I appreciate it, brother. One of the key points that you said is owning it. Uh, I still in the process of doing that right now, owning necessarily that stutter and owning that voice, because we shoot for fluency,
Mm-hmm.
but the thing of it is owning your voice. As a kid, how did it impact me necessarily growing up? The voice, you know what I mean? Not saying that I really had a voice or a voice that was inconsistent. And anything inconsistent necessarily people may doubt or not look as credible. Uh, so really necessarily not participating, not initiating different things, not raising my hand, not not making as many friends as I could. I did because of school, because of sports. But when it came to like making friends outside of those areas, it was tough. You know what I mean? Because the esteem was there. As an adult, just necessarily learning how to own it is going to be there. But knowing necessarily, hey, each and every day is a chance to build that self-esteem, build that necessarily confidence. There still is days that definitely that esteem, but yeah, I mean, it may be challenged because hey, I'm going to a new level or something, or maybe a new job, maybe a new friendship, maybe a new person that I'm trying to talk to. But you're still understanding, hey, I gotta advocate, being able to advocate for myself. That's one of been the biggest things with my esteem right now. Hey, I'm able to advocate a little bit more. Still go through the same challenges, but now understand, hey, if I'm able to advocate, that confidence is there, which impacts my self-esteem.
Just bouncing off that, bro. I feel advocating for yourself is at a we realize it's important as we get older. I feel as ourselves at a younger age, we did not know what that was. We don't know what how much positivity a child would have if they really knew that their stutter is not it's just a it's just we're not fluent. But in our last podcast with Captain Paraki, one quote that stuck out to me the most is pretty much she says that our goal is not to be fluent. Our goal is to communicate and get our point across. And and from that point, quote has stuck with me, and I've drained into my head, and that's one thing I keep saying to myself. Man, so let's go on to our third question. And as a stutterer, um, we try to avoid large gatherings, any any sorts of social gatherings, any social settings with anybody. We try to avoid probably meeting somebody on a one-on-one. We try to avoid that person, or we try to avoid something. But like, how has stuttering influenced the way you view yourself in a social setting or in large gatherings?
Most definitely.
And we got Thanksgiving coming up, so it's a big one.
Thanksgiving, we eating. Uh, most
We
definitely.
we eat more tacos.
Yeah, yes, sir, yes, sir. Talking about the fried turkey, man. Uh, definitely. Even right now, when it comes to one-on-one or a small gathering, because it's more intimate. When it comes to larger settings, I feel sometimes people compete necessarily to talk, and that's not me. So I've grown to be one, even from necessarily as a kid until now, where I'm more comfortable one-on-one settings or small gatherings where people are listening to hear you instead of just listening to talk. So definitely getting better in larger gatherings because there's a lot more eyes, a lot more opinions, a lot more perspectives, but being able to be confident in those settings as well. Because right now you're not just taking up a seat, but you're there for a reason. So I know
Yeah.
necessarily it has impacted me in larger settings because I may shy away a little bit just from it, still prep myself, still give myself a talk, you know what I mean? But more than anything, just to be present. I'm learning to be present in those settings. May not be 100% fluent. Remember, that's not the goal of it, but it's to be present, meet new people, get new experiences that can open up to different opportunities that because you're stuttering, you'll think, hey, I never would do. Get in your necessarily comfort zone, learn to be necessarily get comfortable being uncomfortable, try new things, and like I say, just experience and be present. I mean, I'm gonna kick that back up to you.
Yeah, yeah.
How has stuttering necessarily
Yeah.
influenced the way
So,
you work in social setting or large gathering?
well, at a younger self, I didn't want any sorts of a spotlight on me. I didn't want, but now I take it more as everybody that I'm gonna gather around myself with is gonna know or already knows that I do stutter, and that takes off a lot of pressure on myself in trying to get my point across. I don't gotta fight to be heard. I don't gotta be racing who could talk first or like who could say this joke first. Like people know who I am, and I've been putting myself out there more in the spotlight as I did when I was younger. I put myself out there more in the spotlight so people could understand that even though I stutter, I still have a voice and I still want to be heard. And then also, if as a stutter, we gotta learn to laugh at ourselves and be okay with our pauses. And I'm very close with my friends. My friends really, I have a good group of guy friends, and just being me, I joke around with it. I'm a joke around with it. I'm gonna have fun with it. It's the way that I let it. I don't let it affect me. If I laugh at it, that's on me. I am the stutterer. But of course, we have times where it's not okay to laugh at the situation. People need to know, understand when to laugh at or when to be serious depending on the situation. And I feel like in those social gatherings, I usually see myself around my boys. We just talk. They all know who I am and stuff like that, bro. Just yeah, as what I've gained, I just learned to laugh at myself and I'm not making more than what it seems.
Support group. That's what I'm hearing. Like, it sounds like you got a good group of necessarily dudes around you, which makes all the difference. And just people, bro.
Yeah,
It makes a difference, especially on those days where you like, ooh. But that support group that understands and give you that space to be you. You know what I mean? So that's awesome, bro. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. All right, and now we have a new thing that we're adding into our podcast today. We asked a couple of our followers on Instagram, and if you don't follow us on Instagram at Stutter Chats. And what we did on Monday, I put a story up on asking if anybody wants some sort of answers or they have any sort of questions. And the first question I got is from Urrego underscore Chris. He's part of my friend group, so I appreciate this question. And having support from your friends, that's key. His question was, any advice for parents? Any advice for parents of kids that stutter? What are they?
Or take that out. I don't have kids, but I work with kids a whole lot, maybe like 19 years. Parks and Recreation with the police department, and I met a couple of kids that did stutter. My biggest thing for kids is exposure leads to different experiences, leads to necessarily confidence. So once again, exposure leads to different experiences, leads to necessarily the kids building confidence for them as adults. So whether that's going through a drive through, whether that's ordering food, whether that's talking on the phone, whether that's presenting in class, having your kids being exposed to doing different things, different experiences, and builds confidence. Kick that to you. Any advice for kids
Yeah,
and stuff?
so as you know, I don't have a kid. So, but as a stutterer, we did experience stuttering as a kid, and just what I do want to recommend is just be patient and be supportive, and try to avoid finishing all your kids' sentences and rushing them. Please don't rush them, and let them talk and let them express how they feel, and just celebrate it as a strength. Don't see it as a disability. Don't see it as a negative. He has that stutter for a reason. You don't know what that reason's for, but everyone has some sort of special quality in them, and I feel like having a stutter is some sort of special quality, or it is. It's just the way you see it. You could be negative about it, or you could be positive about it, and the goal is to be positive about it.
Definitely, I want to add on to that. Make sure you get your kids the therapy that they need when it comes to speech therapy. We get tutors for academics. We get necessarily trainers for sports, but necessarily when it comes to something that the kids are going to use every day, which is to be able to communicate, we kind of fail when it comes to that. So the earlier you do get it, the better. Once again, speech therapy, it helps them build that confidence. So the earlier you do it, the better. All right, got a question for you, bro.
No,
Go for it, bro.
no, go.
Go for it. We're gonna go to the next question.
Yeah.
Does your stutter increase with your second language?
But let's. I know this question is from Gabe. Follows the way. He's a follower of us. And my stutter increases when you speak the second language. My second language is Spanish. Hablo español un poquito, pero yo puedo hablar. And do I stutter more? I think I do. I think it's just more of. I feel like I don't know. I don't know too many words in Spanish where I could try to avoid certain words, like how I could avoid certain words in English. I can't avoid those words in Spanish because I know a small vocabulary in Spanish as compared to my English vocabulary. And like in English, I try to avoid certain words. Like I try to avoid any sort of words that starts with a th in English or with twos and stuff like that. I try to avoid those and try to find another route. But in Spanish, since my vocabulary is very small in Spanish, it's much harder for me to avoid those words that I do get stuck at most of the time.
I know very little Spanish, but because because I'm not thinking about it,
Yeah.
it's a little bit more fluent than definitely my English is crazy. But the thing of it is, when we have to think about it, that's when the words get tripped up. So yeah, that's it.
But we got one more question. It's from, I don't know how to say this. I'm going to spell it out. It's DILPRRETDHINJAN. He's been one of the few, he's been first followers of our chats, of our Instagram. He also has a big platform of stuttering on his side. So I've been following his way too. But his question is, who would be your dream guest?
Dream guest, our current president, Joe Biden. I would like to necessarily get his perspective, especially he became president. It's one of the biggest necessarily jobs that anybody could have. Like, what challenges did he face? What roles? Who supported him? And where he currently is. So that would be a dream guest of mine. I'm gonna ask you, for you, who would be a dream guest for you?
All right. So since I'm big on sports, I'm a big sports follower, and I know I have two people that I do want to. Hopefully, if they do see this, I would love for you to be on. But the first one is George Springer. He plays for the Blue Jays. He's an outfielder, and he's been big on advocating about stuttering. And his journey has inspired many people. It inspired me as a baseball player myself. And also the next one, I hope he's hearing this, is Shaquille O'Neal, Shaq. the Diesel. But if you're hearing this track, just know that he's a sports legend, and his personality, and I just want to see like how he has overcome his stutter at a young age and become his loud, his big persona. That's pretty much it's bright when you see him on the screen. So I just want to get his insight on overcoming his challenges and being more confident of himself.
That's what I'm talking about. The big D's. That's what I'm talking about.
Big D's.
Big D's. That's what's up. I wanted to ask you,
Well,
bro.
Brandon.
Yes, sir. Got one last question for you,
No,
bro.
no, no, no.
When you talk about owning your stuttering, how do you own your stuttering? What has been that path for you of owning your stuttering?
Good question, man. Good question. I didn't prepare for this one. There's a one that you came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Got me. Owning my stutter, man. I don't owning it. I don't see it as a flaw. I don't let it affect it in any way. I don't try to let it affect me. How did I own it? Pretty much, man. Just one day it clicked in my head that this is who I am. It just took one day, man. Honestly, I don't know when that day was. That was a couple years ago. It just came to my head one day. I woke up and I just had the confidence myself and pretty much this is who I am. And if you like me or not, that's up to you. I know who I am, and I just own it in that way. I just here have it. Here's my stutter. Take it as you want it, and we'll go on from there.
So
How about you, Brandon? How did you own it?
I'm still in the process, bro. Like truly owning it. I know definitely professionally it's like a big because it's like, hey, you're gonna get it done. Like I say, personally, finding that path of owning because it's like that fight to make sure, hey, make sure everything good, but still owning in every situation. So, like I said, still a process where I'm working at it, but just learning how to own it and advocate for it in every situation, whether fluent or not fluent, but owning it. And I'm saying I'm here, I'm present. That's what it is, man.
Yeah, that's what it is. But let's wrap this up, man.
Yes, sir.
Let's wrap this up. I just want to give a shout out to everybody that's been following our path, our journey. We appreciate you. This is just the beginning for us. Hopefully, we're inspiring you in some way. I hope you're getting some sort of knowledge or something. Just know that you're not alone if you do stutter. And that's it, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you. Everybody else, y'all be safe,
All right.
and we'll see y'all next time.
All right. Take care, man. All right, Brandon.
All right, man.
All right, bro.